noon. It's probably still uh, uh, morning or dawn for you. I mean, it's 11 o'clock. It's still technically dawn here, so grand rising and all that. But it's sort of like afternoon morning. When it's like after 11, it's the morning, but it's the afternoon at the same time. That's how I feel about 11 o'clock in the AM. But anyway, Cosm and Effect. Okay, COSM. That's just me being a little tongue-in-cheek. I'm excited. I'm meeting up with my buddy, and we're taking a trip up north for a little bit. We're gonna go to the Alex Gray Museum. Like the Tool album art. Alex Gray, the physiological spiritual science art and things of this nature. So I'm extremely excited because I'm way more Gen X than I am millennial. So this is way more to me, right? Because there's two levels of Tool fans. There's Gen X Tool fans and millennial Tool fans. And very few Gen Xers care about Tool the way millennials do, because millennials became a little bit more hip to being into what Tool was singing about instead of just really digging what Tool was singing about. They were really yeah, I want to be 46 and 2 just ahead of everyone else too, right? Right? It's one of the early excellent bands making music about ascension from at least what we knew at that time. And they're still an active band. They're still actively touring, and they got an album. I think they're working on an album for this year. Apparently, I think I heard something that all three of the Maynard Holy Trinity is going to be making albums this year. Push a Fire, Perfect Circle, and Tool. That's what I heard. Who knows? That could be just a salacious rumor to fucking dilate your interest and, make the band some money that they deserve, I suppose. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to the Alex Gray Museum today. And I have no idea what it's like. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get footage for you or anything like that. I think that there's an outside part of the attraction, so I'll keep you posted if that attraction bears, if I could at least do that with pictures or whatnot. It'll be fun to talk about. My buddy that I'm going with is he's a teacher who studies all this stuff to kind of low-key get it through the regular curriculum to, enhance the children's true potential, hopefully teach them enough of how to think to be, free. And yeah, he's doing the good work, right? And so he's going to this museum for the same reason why I would be going to this museum, right? It's not just a love of the music, but it's probably even more than the love of the music is the love of the visual art stuff, because he is an art teacher too, right? Well, that is his thing. He is an art teacher, right? So he's got a high degree of liberal arts knowledge, right? Which is important for teachers to have, is liberal arts education to continue that stuff, right? Which can involve things like history. And so it'll be going with him, and then he's got a lady friend from Italy that he's made. She's a lovely lady. She'll be there too. I'll be his wingman. I'll be his wingman, trying to make him look good. I'm wingmanning this. Anyway. I will have a few minutes because I'm running a little bit early. So I will sit here and I will chit-chat with you as we go. An interesting thing I wanted to say, now shifting from this little announcement of where I'm going and what I am doing. I was thinking about how this this I talked about this attitude of Zelensky with the Ukraine yesterday a little bit. I think it was yesterday I was talking about that, right? And one of the things I was thinking when I was talking to people, as a friend of James True, is he has this lecture called "The Gifts of Baal," right? And the gift of Baal is something that becomes apparent when you realize that these that when we're talking about, you know, the evil Babylonian system, right? There is a proper context for that, because there's one way that is sold about Babylon to just lump in paganism right? But if you actually get into the details of even the proper Bible, the details are not like that. There are times in the Bible where Babylon is blessed by God, right? Or they use the word blessing. We could say perhaps he was favored. He was favored or bestowed, right? To favor you or to bestow you. I could be a little. I hate being like I don't hate it. I just I hate that it's seen as being a grammar Nazi when you continue to grow, open your vernacular up, want to talk about it, have an aura camp of people or whatever, right? Because then that can get people can mistaken that for cultish behavior because you've developed a vernacular. I talked about this actually when I was talking about the James True Mark Passio thing too, right? Because I don't think that cults in social media, internet fame as such, I don't think they work the same way. I don't think they accomplish the same things. And I don't think that they it's like you can get duped, obviously. Duping is one thing, but cults, the duping is not like, by the time you fucking had the plot of a cult revealed and the victims, the duping them in a scam based on like lies and charm becomes one small element that was more of a tactic of what the cult was doing than an actual characteristic of the cult, right? It's all about the characteristic of it. What are we seeing with fucking people? What are we seeing with fucking leaders as such? All right. So anyway, the point is that Baal is a term that has so many different levels of context, and if you're Christian or you are a biblicalist, which, like I kind of consider Owen Benjamin kind of a biblicalist, right? He's a Christian because he sees the point of the example of Christ in the Gospels, right? And then because he can openly acknowledge that the Bible's got lots of wild things that it says that needs context, he kind of takes his own personal liberties to be like, Like, look, I don't think I can be perfect person according to biblical standards, but I'm just trying to be a better person. And then the Bible is kind of like a little bit of a guide of that. And thus that can get him on edge about all sorts of things. That could put him on edge about a person of my aesthetics and my interests, and it put him on edge about James True, and he called James a Luciferian, right? And look, it's not the fucking early 2000s anymore where you could just show footage on YouTube of the towers falling and say, like, let's talk about how Lucifer did that. This isn't 2009 anymore. This isn't 2012, okay? We have to fucking evolve, because we can dig up history and get better context. Watch a Robert Sepper fucking video for once in your fucking life and learn a thing or two about the pagan world. Or the Christianization of the pagan world and all the different details that come in from there, because, you know, there is, it's the imposter sky gods, and it's also the invention of urban gods. Certain gods either get adopted into the god of a city and thus become an urban god, because back then city-states had to have a patron and a matron deity for the cohesion of the spiritual aptitude of their civilization, for, you know, something for which is their cohesive cultural expression, right? And so you have a different kind of city-based paganism versus, which is why you don't even call it fucking pagan theoretically, because it's not out in the woods, it's not out in nature, it's in the developed world, it's living within the man-made constructs of life, as opposed to just having a home being engulfed by the side of a mountain, right? You're not engulfed like literally it's eating it, but like here you are, then boom, there's a big mountain right there. There's no fucking, the terrain doesn't even complement the development of a city unless you came in with massive earthworks for fucking 5 years or something, right? Like, this is nature, right? And so the gifts of Baal is basically just we're looking at Baal as just that Middle Eastern whatever, and everything was Baal because everything that was worshipped by and large had a Baal title in front of it. Lord of the Flies, Baal Zebub. That's the easy one that everybody talks about, right? You know, it's like the devil is not in the Exorcist movie. It's a Sumerian spirit. It's a Sumerian spirit that would then later get classified as a demon over time via the influence of the Roman Empire over the narrative of who that civilization was. And so the gifts of Baal is looking at this thing that it's not, you're looking at a thing that is not Christian, it is not satanic, it's not even fucking pagan, right? It's knowing the presence of this lordship energy that doesn't tell you who you are unless you have forced it to tell you what it is. And then you don't get the answer that makes you happy, but it gives you the answer that is true and correct. Zelensky, as the Baal of Ukraine, has given you the gift of telling you exactly who he is. He's not somebody who wants peace. He is willing to murder more people to get back what he lost in a war that he could not win, that he properly mismanaged, and insists on continuing to mismanage by withholding elections when there is enough peace where most of the population is to hold a legitimate election. And now their country is in this perpetual state of emergency being provoked by the necessity of war, and so this makes him look like a tyrant because he doesn't have to hold a fucking election because the country can't afford to have a regime change when they need strong leadership. This whole fucking argument, right? You know, it's just like most people think that the only reason the war in Iraq happened 2 years after the war in Afghanistan was to make sure that we had a war to re-elect the war hawks. And it fucking worked. At least on the executive branch level. I forget how the Congresses went. But I mean, it still worked, obviously, because the Congress continued to vote for resolutions to continue police actions in the Middle East. Right? And thus, war. We call these things war. It's not even what they are, other than that's what they are. Right? But the rules of engagement are completely different, because it's not as simple as my nation, your nation. It's a coalition that my nation has answered the call for. That's how police action works, right? Even if you have to ask for that coalition, such as the way the United States asks for aid in fighting Afghanistan, asks for aid in fighting Iraq, and then we keep it up and we keep the billions and trillions flowing into the war machine for that. So we got to stop calling people Luciferians and listening to all this stuff, because if you care about mythology at all, you are wasting your mythology if you do not see how James True's Oracle of Mythology, where I love James. I feel like giving him big shouts this stream. You know, his Oracle of Mythology, right? Like, all of these little philosophical beats that James does have been invaluable to me, you know, because you see, like, I usually speak for myself, right? Like, and more so than I used to, right? You know, as much as I continue to try and speak for Black Earth Productions or the One Great Work Network or James True as I am now, right? It's just like I've worked very hard on being my own man, having my own vernacular, or incorporating other people's vernacular in a way that is my own. Right? Where, like, yeah, I just said a word, like, and, like, it doesn't come off like it's, like, something you heard in a Black Earth Productions segment, but you know that word's been used there. But he's using it correctly, but in his own way and context. And that's how you know you've truly adopted something into your own as a unique part of your authentic psyche, as opposed to people that are just going to school, memorizing a thing, and then not understanding that that the technically incorrect answer is in actuality a correct answer. You see how that works, right? And this is what happens when you're arguing with them of cognitive dissonance. Those who can't follow what is going on the global stage and on the personal conduct of these lords of these lands that are involved on this global stage, they're going to take the wrong sides, right? And whether I like it or not, I'm not going to get exactly the right answer I think ought to be out of this president, right? So I'm not really for anybody in this matter, but that's also why ultimately the best of answers is to cut off and to let it be and to have nothing to do with it, right? Which also means cutting it off responsibly, so that way there's no ill will, right? Just like Biden administration, he did what I wanted him to do the worst way possible. He pulled out of Afghanistan, but they left all our stuff there. It's like, what? Are you fucking for real? It's a mockery every step of the way, right? And Baal is letting you know that he mocks you. And that's a gift, to be informed that you've been mocked. It's up to you whether you continue to take that mockery. All right. I will catch you guys later. Thanks so much. How you guys doing? Nicholas, Destruction, and Telonius, and Peaceful. How's it going, guys? Thanks so much for popping in. All right, I'll catch you later. I'll let you know how things are going with my trip to Cosm.